Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home for betting tips and analysis. Please click the link in the description to find out more about them. Niall, just see JARON ENNIS dominate, really, take apart EIMANTAS STANIONIS inside 6 rounds. Stanionis' corner didn't allow him to come out for round 7. That was after a knockdown at the end of round 6. Really, really impressive performance by JARON ENNIS tonight. I'll hold my hands up. I thought Stanionis had a good chance of winning the fight, but JARON ENNIS has come in and he's not only won the fight, he's kind of dominated that. Give us your thoughts, please.
Absolutely incredible. Incredible to watch. It was a masterclass in every aspect. You know, I expected a drawn in a masterclass, but that's not to kind of say that you weren't kind of wrong in thinking Stanionis had a good chance. I just think Jaron Ennis is that good. He's caught a lot of flack in the past for kind of flattering to deceive, kind of underwhelming. But I think he's a fighter that fights to, he was so clearly levels above these opponents that he was fighting before. For example, Karen Chikadzian, who he rematched in what had to be the most pointless rematch of all time. So I don't blame him looking underwhelming in that. But he rose to the occasion tonight against, you know, the top two welterweights in the world, his biggest challenger at the weight, and he just put on a masterclass, in terms of jab, switch hitting, fast hands, footwork, body punching, power punching, just all round masterclass. And to do that against, as I say, your biggest test in the division is the sign of an absolutely uh, elite fighter. So yeah, it was a joy to watch. It really was.
It was fantastic. I think, look, I would have loved to have seen a more competitive fight tonight. That's what it was billed as. But yeah, Jordan Ennis was the favorite. He was a clear favorite, and now now maybe you can see we can all see why. On the fight itself, Niall, how did you have it? Obviously, Ennis was winning, but did you have it a shutout? Did you give Stanionis a round? Thoughts on that?
I had it a shutout, to be honest with you. I really did. Ennis, I think, undoubtedly won the first 4 rounds, and then Stanionis had his best round of the fight in the fifth. But then again, how Jaron Ennis finished that round by the flurry that he had stole that round for me, for him, round 5. So yeah, I had, and then round 6 was just utter domination again. So yeah, I had it a shutout. But if I was to be absolutely generous to Stanionis, give him that round 5 for how he kind of started the round and the shots he landed. But yeah, I don't think you could give him more than 1 round at an absolute push. Shutout for me. It really was. It was so one-sided.
Yeah, it was a shutout for me as well, to be honest. I thought in my notes I had round 3 and round 5 as what I would describe close rounds, but I still gave those rounds to Ennis, to be honest. Stanionis had his moments, he did connect with Ennis, but he didn't. I don't think he threw less than I thought he was going to. He was less physical than I thought he was going to be. But I think another factor here was a kind of a narrative going into this fight was what's Ennis going to be like at 147? How's he making the weight? He didn't look great during fight week, but I thought he looked massive tonight. He came in, was it more than half a pound inside the weight yesterday? Which kind of leads me on to my next question to you now, really. Where do you think his future is? Do you think he's going to? Yeah, I'll ask this question, and then based on your answer, I'll ask another question. Do you think that's his final fight at 147, or do you think we're going to see him move up?
It's a really tough one. I'd like it to be his last fight at 147. As you say, he is big. He is a big welterweight. He's strong. He does draw himself out to make the weight, although he did make it relatively comfortably, it seems, this time. And I think the money fights are at 154. Now, like if you throw Jaron Ennis into the mix in an already exciting division, you know, the likes of Terence Crawford, Fondora, Tim Zoo, Virgil Ortiz, to throw Jaron Ennis in there is absolutely incredible. I think it's a much more enticing prospect than you know, the unification fights, the further unification fights at welterweight against Norman or Barrios. But then again, you've got the kind of lure of going undisputed at welterweight, you know. That's a kind of a stamp of his legacy would be to go undisputed, but I think he's levels above Norman and Barrios. I think tonight was the big test. You know, the one and two welterweights in the world tonight fighting. So yeah, I think if he can't get another unification, you know, if he is staying around, I think he needs to get a unification against one of those two by the end of the year. And if he doesn't get one by at least, you know, at most the end of the year, move up in 2026. That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, look, he's been at this weight for a long time now. Um, he's been speaking about moving up for a long time now. I think another kind of something else I'd throw in as well is I think he would maybe stay at 147 if he can tempt the likes of um, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez into coming up and facing him. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I don't think you're going to see Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney's first fight at 147 be against Jaron Ennis. So I don't see that happening, but you never know. Boxing's a crazy sport. I think I agree with you now. I just think that those welterweight fights, I don't think they're massive fights. And I think that at the moment, Jaron Ennis can say, undisputed or not, I'm the best welterweight in the world. And just kind of end of story until someone beats him, or kind of is posed as a serious challenge. Final question from me now, because it's late as always. How successful can he be against the top dogs at 154? I know it's tricky, so we haven't not seen him at 154, but um, I'm talking Virgil Ortiz, Sebastian Fundora, Israel Madrimov, of course. Against those guys, does he beat those guys? Does he compete with those guys? What do you think?
I think I don't know if it's getting kind of carried away here after the performance we've just seen. I think he does beat those guys. I really do. I think you know, when he's at the weight 154, he'll be fresher, I feel. He'll be even fresher. He'll be, you know, won't have to drain himself as much. And yeah, I just think he has the skills. As I say, he seems to have everything, you know, speed, footwork, switch hitting, IQ, power. He seems to have the lot. The likes of a Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz fight, I think, is the one for me. I think that's an absolutely fascinating fight at 154. But I would pick Jaron Ennis, just being more versatile. And then you have the likes of a Tim Zoo, who we don't know how kind of damaged he is after the you know, he did have a good comeback win, but another fascinating fight. I think he beats Fondora. I think he chops Fondora down to size. Um, and then the mega fight, I suppose, is Terence Crawford. You know, Terence Crawford is a you know that's a super fight in America. I'd have to probably edge Terence Crawford there just for his kind of greatness that he's proved. But yeah, I think everybody not named Terence Crawford, I'd be backing Jaron Ennis against.
Yeah, and I wonder if this fight has maybe given that fight a bit more life, the Terence Crawford fight, 'cause feels like it wasn't looking possible. And now I wonder if because Ennis looking so impressive, maybe that's a bigger fight. Would Crawford be tempted to? We'll see. Look, I'll round things off by just saying fantastic performance by Ennis tonight, but let this be the start of him being in big fights like tonight. I don't want to see him have a two or three kind of warm-up fights at 154. He's clearly a star and has the potential to do a lot in the sport. So let's have an exciting 12 months for him, please, because there's definitely some big fights for him at 154, but we shall see. Niall, good to be joined by you as always. Hope you enjoyed the fight, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Cheers, take care.